Well, welcome along to the next instalment of our January campaign. All this month, we are bringing you content to help you to be a smarter landlord in 2019. And for today's interview, I'm delighted to be joined by a letting agent of 15 years experience. It's Bill Rocket of Rocket Home Rentals. And Bill, I'm so glad to have somebody with your background to be part of this whole campaign. You've got 15 years of experience, as we mentioned. In your experience and opinion, what makes a smart landlord, and are they going to have to become smarter?
I think so. I mean, this year more than ever, they need to buy smart. You know, they come to me and they say, "Oh, I've seen a bargain here. It's £60,000, £70,000." I said, "There's a reason for it. You know, there's no such thing as a free lunch at the end of the day. You know, have a think. Who's going to be your tenants? Are they in gainful employment? Are they in the kind of job that's going to be there next year, the year after, the year after? Have a think about that. Is it a property near good schools? Will it attract good families? You know, are there good businesses around there? All those jolly good things. Because this is what a family's going to look for. Because ideally, what you want is someone that's going to come in and 4 years later they're still there and they're treating that home as if it's their own, basically, and how you'd want them to look after it."
Oh, I 100% agree. And I think, you know, we've got Brexit uncertainty ongoing. We've got all the challenges facing landlords. And I think in that kind of environment, I personally believe that landlords should perhaps lower their risk. And I know that you are just a massive fan of terraced houses. They are the workhorses of the private rented sector. They, you know, get the right one in the right area and you'll struggle to go wrong.
Oh, very much. I'm about as risk-averse as you're going to get, to be honest. I mean, we're an ALA agent, and all we do is let and manage properties. We don't sell. And I think that works really well for the investor landlords we work with because, you know, we've not got a stock that we're trying to point them towards and only ours. You know, I'll point them towards anything I see for sale that I think works for them, to be honest. And I don't think you go wrong with freehold family homes. They roughly double in value every 10 years. You know, something in a nice, like I said, a tree-lined street. You're never going to go far wrong. They're easy to let, you know, and that will be a good, sensible pension fund.
And so you still believe in property as an investment?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not building any more land. There's always going to be a property shortage. That's never going to change. And if you think about what most of the institutional developers build, they're all apartments and everything like that. There's not many are getting into the family homes, and that's where I see the big gap. And you know, apartments and little terraces, you get a big churn. You know, people come and go really quickly every 6 and 12 months. You know, you want longevity. You know, if over 10 years you've only had 3 families, I think you've done very well.
No, absolutely. And, you know, in 2019, landlords perhaps are going to have to be more educated. They have got to understand all the changes and mitigate against those. And there's so many resources out there. You and I, we've written for Property Industry Eye, which is a great resource. There's Property Tribes, of course. There's all these podcasts. There's really no excuse for any landlord to not be aware of what's going on. And if they don't have time, they should come to, you know, a professional, reputable agent.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, speak to an agent who's got their finger on the pulse, who can tell you what's happening in the area. Hopefully who's going to tell you that what is going to happen in the area, you know, in 2019 and going forwards, is this, you know, for instance, round here, for instance, we've got the HS2 coming about 5 miles from here. All the roads have been upgraded to smart motorways. There's business parks coming in. You know, I always call Stoke-on-Trent the most southerly northern city that hasn't been done. And I think our day is about to come here. You know, you can buy relatively cheap up here, but get very good rents. You know, we're only an hour and a half from London, middle of the country, 8 major cities within an hour, 4 major airports. You know, if I was an investor landlord, they're the things I'd think, yeah, I need to look at that kind of thing, to be honest.
And what do you think of, you know, landlords that are starting out buying a tenanted property? Because I always think that's a very, very low risk way to start because you earn income from day one. You know that you can check the tenant's payment history. You can actually check whether it's a tenant in receipt of housing benefit or a private tenant, so you know the kind of demographic of that tenant. You can check how they're looking after the property. Is that a strategy that you recommend?
I'd have no problem with it. Just do your due diligence. First thing I'd ask is why the other landlord's selling.
Yeah, of course. course.
That's the first thing you need to find out. If it's genuine reasons that they
Section
maybe
24.
yeah, it could very well be. You know, if they're genuine reasons, the tenant's fine, they're looking after the property, there's never been arrears, I don't see what's the problem with it. You know, like you said, you've got money from day one and happy days. And, you know, most tenants don't want to be dislodged. You know, so, you know, if you can say, look, don't worry, I've taken over the house, but you can stay here for as long as you like because this is my pension fund. As long as the rent's coming in, you've got a home, a roof over your head.
Indeed, and I think that's an important point as well, because with all the you know, hoo-ha being kicked up by the likes of Shelter about tenants don't have security, they live with uncertainty. One thing that I always say to prospective tenants is, I am a landlord, I'm in this for the long term, I have no plans to sell this property, you're welcome to stay as long as you like. And I think we as landlords can give tenants that kind of reassurance, and I think if they know that they're working with a professional landlord who wants them to stay long term, it does give them that peace of mind.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you get some amazing landlords. I've got some, you know, you ring them up and say, oh, I'll go around and deal with it. Oh, leave it to me, and they get to know the tenant. Like I said earlier, I've got one that's a professional footballer. He goes around and does things himself, takes his dad round. You know, they're brilliant, and they really do look after the tenants and build a great relationship with them. And you know, it's key. I mean, you've got to get past that kind of business relationship. I say to anyone, if you're going to do a tenant find only, give them a bunch of flowers, box of chocolates, bottle of wine when they move in, you know, a nice card, welcome to our home, I hope you enjoy it as much as we have, you know, something along those lines, and build a relationship going forwards. Move quickly on maintenance issues, and deal with them steadily. I mean, you know, we manage tenants' expectations. You know, I mean, we had one today where it's going to be 2 days before we can get parts for a boiler, you know, and get them to understand, you know, I can't move it any quicker than that, you know, and most people will understand that.
Sure.
You know, and we do everything we can to help people out. We'll take heaters round, you know, and I'll talk to landlords to say, look, you know, can you put them in a hotel for a couple of nights? You know, they're a family. We can't leave them with no heating in November. And most landlords are family men as well. They're decent, and women, obviously. They're decent people, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. So as we look forward to 2019, none of us know what it's going to bring, whether there's going to be more government intervention or whatever's going to happen. What would be, you've already given some fantastic tips, but what would be your sort of number one top tip for landlords in 2019?
If you've got a property with a tenant in, manage them well. Keep your tenants. You don't want to be swapping tenants all the time if you can help it. If you're looking to buy property, I can't stress enough, do your due diligence. Be careful. Everyone's going to tell you that this is the next best thing. This is going to make you a millionaire. Look for the slow and steady stuff. You know, like I said, nice houses in nice areas. Get as many opinions as you can. Speak to as many people. Go on to things like property tribes. Have a look on there. You know, you've got a big forum there. You can speak to a shed load of landlords on there and investors, and you know, measure the market from them.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, been really, really great to have your input as part of our Smarter Landlords in 2019 campaign, and good luck to you, Bill, for the year ahead. And, you know, people like you are just so important to the private rented sector. To me, you're almost like the gatekeepers, and I think it's really important that people like you are part of the Property Tribes community and can support our landlords as well with such wonderful advice. So
Brilliant.
Don't go changing.
Thank you very much. All the best in 2019.
Thank you.